welcome to Fort Fritz. I'm your host, Fritz, joined as always by co-host Mandaddy.
Hi.
Mandaddy's co-host, Mandaddy's little belly.
Can you hear it?
Rumbles.
We've been hearing it for a little bit now. It's okay though.
I have no idea what's going on.
I have Angela.
Hello.
And also Kaz.
Howdy.
So, there's a lot to the paranormal realm, and that's what we try to tackle here on Fort Fritz, but we'd like to make it entertaining. Would you not say?
We try.
We try.
Our
Try to
best.
make it entertaining.
Sometimes it is just entertaining in itself.
Sometimes there's really, really heavy, hard-hitting news articles out there, and it just kind of sucks to just dwell on the news.
Oh, yeah, I do it way, way, way too much.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot.
So that's why we like to bring up the paranormal aspect of it, and I have something that recently happened. But before I begin, I would like to say you can always check out our full-length podcasts on the iHeartRadio app. Just download it. It's absolutely free. You have one of those bleep bloop computers in your hand right now. You can just download it. Just look up iHeartRadio app and download it. Search Fort Fritz. We have a recent one. We're stuck in a prehistoric jungle, and it's a lot of fun. What do you guys know about resurrection or bringing people back from the dead? Necromancy.
Interesting question.
Bad idea.
If you were.
Horrible idea. Creates monsters.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea at all.
Or
Usually,
zombies, icons.
White
usually
walkers.
creates a lot of problems.
So Mandaddy and Angela both saying no. Kaz, what do you think?
I mean, depending upon the story, you can get a religious icon out of that, right?
You really can, yeah. I have a story that came out just a couple of weeks ago, but this actually dates back to March. A man in Zimbabwe passed away, and the original reports named him as Brighton/Elliot Moyo, but actually, I think the real man that passed away, Thabiso Proud Mlanje.
Totally incorrect, I'm sure.
Well done.
And, he has a very, very frightening video of him being brought back to life.
From the dead.
From the dead.
That's way more impressive.
Would you like to see it?
Sure.
There we go.
Sure, sounds exciting.
Oh, I saw this.
Okay, we got body. Dude laying in the
The pastor is feeling his arms right
He's in a
now.
coffin.
He starts rising from the grave. But look at his face.
He's
right?
committing to the zombie face for sure.
Right?
Oh.
Did they have that music
Wait, yeah,
cue
was the
planned?
music?
Did they have that? Okay, once the zombie comes up, cue the music.
No one seems
it's a
that shocked,
celebration.
other than this lady. This lady and
This
this other
one
woman.
lady and...
Everyone else is kind of like, yeah.
I call massive amounts of BS on this.
Right.
Yeah.
It's complete.
Yeah.
Was that Zydeco? What was that?
I don't
He got
know.
his full color. It's like he
a
just...
bunch of
yeah.
crawdad come out. It was amazing.
It kind of seemed like it was Zydeco, Haitian. Well, he died again a couple of days after that.
Well, that'll teach him.
Oh, man.
So this is the fascinating story of this man who was literally pronounced dead before he was brought back to life and then was pronounced dead again. This is from the Mysterious Universe and also the ZimbabweMail.com, which did a lot of investigative research on it. Mysterious Universe, they actually tracked down his brother. This is the backstory. This man was accused of either being not quite dead in the first place for him to just kind of sit up,
That's a strong
Partially dead.
accusation.
or this was an elaborate hoax. So I think Mandaddy says hoax. Kaz?
I'm going to go with hoax.
Yeah, definitely hoax.
Massive
Also, the zombie face thing after, like, come on, guy. Like, give me a little bit of, like, nuance to the acting. It was very much like Night of the Living
He
Dead.
definitely had, like, his mouth was very still, but his eyes were all looking around, like, look at me, I'm back from the dead.
Right. Oh,
Look at
everyone
me.
check this out.
Yeah, it's totally fake.
So as we just saw, and also if you would like to see this, go to realradio.fm and click Fritz. A video of the alleged miracle didn't convince many people, including the owners of the funeral homes and service companies who provided the casket.
And the music.
Oh, they're trying to get a refund?
And the music. So what this pastor, his name is Pastor Alf Luque of the Alleluia International
Luke
Ministries.
Cage?
Yep.
Luke Cage is now a pastor. That's amazing. Well, it did get canceled. It got canceled, so we had to move on.
I thought they were going to do another one.
He is accused of, bringing this guy back from death. But the brother Stanley Mlanje said this whole thing was really odd because on March 8th, he was brought to the Zimbabwe hospital where he was admitted with like unbelievable stomach cramping, vomiting blood. He had fevers, he had chills, and the entire time he kept saying, I want to be buried next to my grandfather. His brother says, we didn't know that he had died and resurrected. Trouble started after the funeral because the police arraigned us and told us that he had been wanted for fraud. I am still in great distress because of what my son-in-law did. I've had to deal with the police concerning this whole resurrection scheme. The father-in-law says that it's a scam, but he was pronounced dead and then came back from the dead in his coffin and then died mysteriously a couple of days later. His brother thinks that he has a large sum of money somewhere. He thinks he was paid off. And also witnesses at the funeral said, we were so shocked to see a speeding car with a coffin in broad daylight when the sun was so hot. It sounds like a White Zombie song. In our village, it's not allowed to transport a dead body in the afternoon. Yeah. So we were just perplexed and wondered, what could these people be hiding? Another person said...
so it's like, what do you do with your bodies during the day? Just leave it right there.
Keep them in the basement until nighttime.
This is really odd, right? Another person said, the only thing that also shocked us, that the car carrying the coffin had only 3 people inside, and it was speeding as if they didn't want fellow villagers to find out more about the dead person. So this all looks like an elaborate scheme. This video did not do anything to really...
No.
What was the guy's name again? Elliot?
Moyo. M-O-Y-O. But also, that's not his real name. His real name is Thabiso, T-H-A-B-I-S-O. Last name Mlanje, which is how I'm pronouncing it. That's M-L-A-N-J-E.
He lost the subtlety of the fake death.
How so, Kev?
First of all, resurrection. Don't do that. If you're going to fake your death, just go ahead and fake it and then leave it alone.
Yeah,
don't come back and then fake it again. Like doing twice.
Commit to it.
Exactly.
Commit to the
Commit
death.
to the first fake death.
Right.
So is he actually dead now? Like, have they confirmed it? Did they put him in the ground?
The speculation right now is that he died from poisoning. So this Pastor Alf, and his last name
is the name of the
A-L-P. It's like Ralph. It's like Ralph with no R.
That's what he should go by.
Yeah, Ralph with no R.
Ralph with no R.
Pastor Ralph with no R. His last name is Lukai, so it's L-U-K-A-U. But he's wanted for fraud now. It's a whole thing. This one video that went viral is like, oh, he is risen, kind of like what religion does is bring hope back to people who don't have it anymore for numerous circumstances. This guy came back from the dead, and he literally is dead now. And his brother said,
as far as we know,
his brother said he moved to Zimbabwe 7 years ago. I have not heard from him in 7 years, and then I see this viral video. So that's a very traumatizing thing for the family to go
I
through.
can imagine. Yeah.
But we don't know how this pastor brought this man back from death, or if he killed him with poisoning, which is highly suspect.
Yeah.
But we do know a little bit more now about how we think ancient civilizations made their huge monuments to the gods. I'm talking the pyramids, the Moai heads on Easter Island. Researchers, this is Gizmodo.com, researchers made 3,900-pound boulders they can move by hand, giving more insights into ancient engineering.
Just with the curving?
That is
the curvature?
It's a 3,900-pound block of stone that they are moving around like it ain't nobody's business.
Oh,
Well, that shows one aspect of it. I mean, I feel like that's a multifaceted. I can't tell from that single GIF.
Oh, do you?
GIF.
Do you?
GIF.
It's a GIF.
It's a GIF.
GIF.
So
we're Team GIF over here.
Team GIF all day long.
From Gizmodo.com, how are giant ancient structures like Stonehenge or the towering Maori heads on Easter Island assembled at a time when cranes and trucks were still hundreds of years away? Researchers at MIT said, hold my beer. So let's watch this video now of MIT researchers moving boulders by hand.
Ooh, so it's two pieces.
Yeah, this is really, really cool. So they are geometrical pieces that all of them weighing, the heaviest one, I believe, was 3,900 pounds. So they start with this kind of like 7-looking thing with a B on the back end, and they swivel it around to show that there's steps carved into it.
Oh.
They then show this other block, and they're like, I don't care. It's light. Look at me. I'm strong.
Which you should be able to see this video on iHeart
realradio.fm, just go to the blogs and look for Fritz.
Someone's got a dongle on it. No, he pulled it out.
Nope. Yep. So that was just him going.
That still seems suspect to me because it's like only those shapes, and those don't look like the shapes of the Stonehenge. Those look like the shapes of.
So check out.
I see how they're doing the whole Lego thing.
Check out this video
they're
down
fitting
here.
them together like an IKEA furniture.
Yep. And then you see at the front they have steps.
Oh.
It's as simple as that. They've just built the entire first floor of their structure with these things.
The second floor is going to provide drastically more like inconvenience, though. I imagine.
But they can also probably roll them up those steps.
Possibly.
It's neat, though, right?
No, it's very neat. It's
really
really
cool.
neat just to see.
But if you look at the way that pyramids are constructed, it's like actual just square blocks, right? Like it doesn't look like they're geometrically rolly and.
Yeah. And same with the heads. They're the shape of heads. They're not like roly-poly heads. They're just big old heads.
Kaz, Mandaddy, that is a good point. However, we don't know exactly what the blocks are made of. I don't think we have a complete thermal structure X-ray of the entire pyramid down to that level. Yeah, I think they might have put blocks in at a certain angle. I know that they went back and capped the pyramid because, it was just kind of like a digital wave, and then they made it analog by making those little capstones.
Mastered it.
Yeah, they mastered the pyramids on tape, 2-inch tape.
They were rendered.
Because they're hipsters. The idea from Gizmodo.com is that the 82-ton Moai heads were rocked and walked across an island to their final resting places. That's not implausible. But this experiment does more than just prove a hypothesis. So because of 3D printing, they didn't have that back then.
Darn.
But anyway,
would have been helpful.
The positive in this is that lower income communities can have sea walls ready to go. So if there is imminent flooding, they can roll these things out. They can create a 4-ton barrier of sand that is concrete printed, and this was a concrete printed design.
Yeah.
So the idea is
that's a good application.
Yeah, it could save lives. So I just thought that was interesting.
It is.
It is very interesting.
And when you think about the fact that they did this using our modern technology, and if they did it back then without our modern technology, without computers, without modern measuring devices, that makes it almost even more incredible.
Yeah, you would have just said aliens.
Yeah, aliens like, okay, no problem. That's much easier. But the fact that if they are able to make these calculations and make these sort of structures that can tip and move and still be solid like that without any of our modern calculating technology, that makes it even more impressive than just figure out how to get big rocks somewhere. They figure out a really interesting, efficient way to do it.
Don't go anywhere. Coming up, we have an interview with Steve Schneider. He has a show at Fringe Festival this year. Kaz recently finished a very popular show, and he has a teaser for their next season. And Mandaddy is going to be reviewing the Twilight Zone.
The Jordan Peele?
Yes.
Yeah, he's going to peel it back for us.
Whoa!
Oh, hey, I did the punch around
This
here.
guy's a radio guy.
Listen.
All right, well, then go ahead and
Stealing
take
my
us to
puns.
break, Angela.
No, that's your job.
You're listening to Fort Fritz on Real Radio 104.1.
Wow!
Fort Fritz on Real Radio 104.1.
Welcome back to Fort Fritz. I'm your host, Fritz, joined as always by Mandaddy.
Hi.
Kaz.
Howdy.
And Angela.
Hello.
We always like to talk about local news here on the Fort Fritz radio broadcast because, well, we care about Central Florida. Isn't that right?
Heck yeah.
Well, yeah,
It
very much
so grew on me. I wasn't born here, but this is a cool place. It
is cool.
It's interesting and eclectic.
I am-
There's a lot of interesting stuff going on.
I'm painfully native. I am born in Orlando. I have been here. I am part of the wallpaper. So right now, in our mission to bring you news about the local, let you know what's going on, especially when it comes to the local entertainment scene, we have with us, since we've talked about the Fringe a lot, since Angela is going to be participating in the Fringe,
Yes.
How cool is that?
I'm
we have
very excited.
another Fringe participant, and this is Steve Schneider.
Steve Schneider.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Welcome,
I'm
sir.
lovely to be here in the sanctum.
So right now, we got Fringe coming up, which, in case people don't know, go out, check out Fringe. We could spend an entire show just about Fringe. We have the longest continuous running Fringe in America, right here.
Yes, actually,
in
28 years.
Yeah.
Jesus.
The longest running international Fringe festival.
International. So in the world?
yeah. No, not in the
Not
world.
the
It started
world.
in Ireland.
Scotland.
Scotland.
Yes.
It was, well, close. It was Orlando.
Yeah, close.
Yes.
Fringe?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
So, Steve, what are you going to be bringing to the Fringe this year?
I am bringing this year a show that I've written that is called Blackwood, and it
Pardon?
is you know I'm going to go there over again. It is an ensemble comedy set behind the scenes of a supernatural themed daytime soap opera in the year 1967. So if you remember the original Dark Shadows,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
envision a show like Dark Shadows if it had been put on an even smaller budget by people who were even more confused.
Oh, okay.
Well, I like that.
And it's behind the scenes. It is the first day of a young actress. We used to call them actresses. Now we'd have to call them performers. Who is 21 years old and straight out of method acting school, and her first day on the soap, and rapidly discovering that the skill set that you develop at the actor's studio is vastly different to the one that you need to wield when you are putting on a daily soap opera about vampires, ghosts, and witches.
Okay.
And the comedy just flows naturally from there.
And the jokes keep it coming.
Yeah, they do. They do.
So, how is this compared to the Johnny Depp movie that did really well? People just loved
it
it.
was a blockbuster. I am probably one of the only Dark Shadows fans of any capacity who was not instantly outraged by the idea of making a film that was a parody of it.
Yeah, I heard
just
from
would
a lot
have
of
preferred
fans.
had it been funny.
Yeah.
I would have. So when people say, "Is your show anything like the movie?" I say, "Hopefully not."
That's not the goal.
I've liked Dark Shadows in all its permutations except that one. So, I didn't even have the movie on my radar while I was writing the show because I think most of us have just sort of put it out of our memory.
How many Fringes have you done now?
I think this will be my 6th as a writer and my 5th as a producer.
Nice.
And since the last 9 years, and I was telling a set construction guy because today I was building a graveyard in my driveway, which is what you get to do when you have a job like this.
Oh, boy.
Which is awesome. You get to explain it to the neighbors later that you're not just like burying a treasure out on the back 40 or something.
You're chiseling their names into their tombstones and looking at them.
Watch yourself.
Have a great night, Jerry.
See you
When
never.
were you born?
So anyway, right. I'm lacking some information that I need you to fill in. No, so I was telling our set guy today while we were assembling the graveyard that I am one of those rare breeds that I am a writer/creative type who loves to do production stuff. Except when it's going terribly, but nobody likes their job when it's going terribly,
Well,
right?
yeah.
But I like doing all these things that you've been warned your whole life that, oh my God, you become a creative person to get out of doing this. I love promoting. I love coming up with ad campaigns. I love, soliciting the ads.
I
all that
also
kind
like
of stuff.
doing that. It's
It's
fun.
fun. I think it's just another part of the creative process. So,
You're still involved with your art. You're still taking your vision on a different level.
Yeah,
Right, and who
it's
better
all
to
about communicating. You
Right,
know,
exactly.
It's like I have that little side of me where I see Don Draper, and I'm like, yeah, you don't look down on him. You know what he does? It's like, it's a public service.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, who better to describe what you're doing than yourself?
Yeah.
And I'm always amazed at people who either don't like it or just bad at it.
Right.
I was like, if you know what it is and what it means, aren't you the one who's best positioned to sell it?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And hear people's passion talking about their own project. It really draws people in even more.
I would hope.
Steve Schneider of Blackwood.
It
Can
sounds
you
like
tell
his
us-
night name.
Right?
Yeah, right. From now on, it is. As long as you can change it on social media, from now on, it
Yes.
is. Thank you. You were here inspiring that turning point.
Last year in 2018,
Yes.
you were affiliated with 1 Hour, which was a sketch. It was a sketch writing show.
Yes.
How? And you were a writer on that, right?
I was a writer-producer on that, yeah.
How hard is it to try to make a Fringe show with just quick sketches, quick jokes? Did you try to tie anything in as a thread?
As a running thread. Yeah, I think after you've been writing, everybody brings sketches to the table, and it's kind of like what I've heard described as the Saturday Night Live process, except no one made us stay there overnight and do blow.
No
one made
I
you.
was going to say, notice my choice of verb.
The option was there.
Yeah, it was. You could, but it's
If you
more-
want to really commit to the team,
But
You
this
wanna-
is community theater, so
There's
everyone has to go to their
I
actual
was-
day jobs the next day.
No,
so-
this is a Fringe budget, so it was more like, sitting outside the Wawa and just like caking up on big grabs all night or something.
Pounding coffee and taking
Nothing wrong with
cigarettes.
that.
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with that.
no, it's in a serious answer to your question. It's a different process. I think, my criticism of myself as a writer is that I'm not particularly great at story. I think I'm really good at dialogue and character.
Oh, for
but
sure.
I don't think
yeah.
I'm great at story. So I thought, this is the kind of fool's paradise that I try to move into on a regular basis. I thought, okay, I'm going to write sketches, and it will be easier because they're shorter narratives. There's less chance. Oh no, that's the shaking of your head shows that you knew what I had to learn, which is like
Steve is
no.
calling out Mandaddy right now.
Yes, I am.
Because it's so much more condensed that you got to hit so many different points, and you got to get so much completion, and you got to take someone on a journey in such a shorter amount of time.
It's a similar skill set, but it is more pressurized. And then just figuring out the flow of, especially when you have sketches being contributed by a variety of people, just figuring out the flow and how they balance each other out. And it really gave me more of an affinity and sympathy for what they do on a show like SNL, because if you have 5 great sketches and they're all set in a restaurant, you're using one of them.
Right.
I wrote more for that show that I still don't know what I'm going to do with. Normally, for a fact, Angela, like normally you write for Fringe and you have somebody like, what kind of backlog do you have? What kind of overflow? They're like, are you kidding? I was lucky to have a script by the time we went up.
Right. Yes. Yes.
So I had not planned on doing, and I enjoyed it, and I've been doing that sketch show. I did a rock and roll show 2 years before that called Ominous George that was mostly music, very little script, intentionally so. And I thought I was past the point of doing sort of like long form stuff. Like at the Fringe, an hour is considered long form.
Oh, God.
And then I just had the idea for this show on the way to the Fringe last year because I was reading social media. And a young actor that I know who has worked with me before, he's discovering the original Dark Shadows, and he was sort of like, like live posting as his, his reactions and everything. And it just kind of hit me. I was like, oh, that's a cute idea for a show. And I was like, damn, I guess I'm writing scripted shows again.
Right.
Damn me!
Yeah, right.
You gotta cut.
Why must you work
You
this
have
way,
to.
brain?
It's in your head, and you're like, damn, well, now it's got to get out.
And the minute the Fringe was over, then I set myself to writing, and my process, which is just load up on aspartame and pace a hole in the floor at 2 in the morning.
Like that. I was like, load up on acid.
That too.
And you're like,
Been there.
So I had a first draft that we did a public workshop of as far back as last August, which for Fringe is like kind of advanced planning that nobody knows about. And then we were on the wait list until February. So my new phrase with all apologies to Mike Tyson is everybody has a plan till they get off the wait list in February. When you're like, this is great, I had a cast in place, I've got a script that was written and workshopped all the way back in last August, and no, suddenly then you've got to just hit the ground running and recreate it from almost the ground up. I love that feeling of like after 5 times producing, I finally realized, don't worry about things that you are not paying yourself to worry about.
Right.
You're already worrying about the writing, you're already worrying about the producing. Yeah, why borrow trouble?
I'm actually
That's a good
surprised.
quote.
Why
borrow trouble?
That's not original. That was my high school friend's Jewish mother would say, don't
You
borrow
heard it here,
trouble.
folks.
Yeah.
Fritz
Don't borrow
Radio
trouble.
104.1,
Yeah.
Steve Schneider.
And my other favorite that comes from David Lee Roth is you're only as big as what bothers you. And he said his version of it was you're only as big as what aggravates you, but I changed it to bothers because it's more alliterative and it takes a few syllables out.
Are you
Yes.
improving
Yes.
on Diamond Dave?
I know.
You did.
I feel like I should be hit with a lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Like I made perfection in Dave, and nothing can touch it now. Least of all you, New Jersey boy. But so that's something I have to remind myself on a regular basis that if you want to get like bothered by some mover, shaker, or political figure who has actual control over your life, do it. But like if you're going to be bothered about something that if you could choose, you would think is, in the nicest way beneath being part of your life, suddenly you're making that part of your life. But anyway, that's a huge tangent. Thanks, Dave. I also learned tangents from Dave. If you
Diamond
haven't
Dave does it again.
We always give thanks
David
to
Lee
Dave.
Roth minute. I feel like that's the first one on the show, and it was fantastic.
Now your moment of Dave.
Yeah.
Everyone has a moment of Dave in their life, I think.
They should.
Sure.
Where Dave enters your soul and you understand David Lee
he's
Roth.
so good.
Because a lot of times you look at him wearing the spandex, doing the kicking and the flipping and the swords, you're like, whatever. And then the one day you're just like,
You reach down
I
between
get
your
it.
legs,
And
then you ease your seat
seat
back,
back. Yeah.
and that's when you get it. That's when you get it.
and then
man.
you understand.
Do you know the
and
whole
then you
sto-
jump.
The whole story about that song.
Might as well jump.
Might as well.
When he wrote the song Panama is because he was reading a review of Van Halen that said that all their songs were about sex, drugs, and cars. And he went, I've never written a song about a car. And so he wrote Panama.
Nice.
Nice.
So one more time, tell us, when is your show going to be?
Okay, Blackwood starts at the Orlando Fringe. Our first performance is May 16th. We have 5 performances. We have a day or time to fit every lifestyle and
Nice.
and mistaken choice. So yeah, it's the 16th, and we run through the 26th with 5 performances. It is $12, but everyone who, if you're not familiar with the Fringe, you need a Fringe button for
Yes.
entry, which grants you entry into all of the other shows with an individual ticket. That's how they make their money.
So it starts the 14th, goes to the 27th. They also have Kids Fringe, so it has a whole spectrum of shows from like family friendly to super raunchy. There is someone that we know who always likes to count how many penises he's seen in a show. He usually has like statuses like I've seen 2 penises, 3,
Yeah, but he
3
doesn't
sets
stop
of
doing
breasts.
that when the festival's over.
No, no.
He's doing that at Panera after the
He's a
festival's over.
hot-blooded man.
How many of those can I catch over at
Can I be real?
over at Jimmy John's?
All the Panera over by like the
Jimmy
Advent
John's.
Health. And then which venue are you in?
We are in the Gold venue, which is in the Orlando Museum of Art. It
Nice.
is like a rather large high school auditorium.
How many
Yeah.
seats does it have in there?
I think it's about 230.
That's amazing.
Ooh,
That's
it's
great.
Yeah, that's a bunch.
It'll be an interesting challenge because it's a larger. I've done 100-seaters before,
Yeah.
and I don't want people to think like, well, he's really gotten too big for his britches. Now that it was, the space they had available, they had 5 shows in a larger venue. So I thought, okay, well, it's more impetus to get out and promote. Something
Yeah, for
like
sure.
that
Right.
forces you to up your game.
You gotta
so
fill
there
that.
I am.
You got 5
There I
seconds.
am, just begging everyone.
The information
Please.
on Fringe is orlandofringe.org.
Nice.
And it's this huge thing that happens in Orlando.
It's a great event, and also they have the field, the green,
Oh, the
which is
green.
free, and you can go and there's tons of food vendors, there's
Cheese curds.
drinks,
Oh, cheese curds.
and
Cheese
they have
curds.
Jam Bando. Does a thing out there with a bunch of bands play live music. They've had live comedy out there, and all that's free.
Yeah.
So you can go to the green and just hang out and check out the vibe if you
the
want.
beer
And
tent.
you can watch the performers make poor sexual decisions.
Yeah.
Oh,
If you
yeah,
know who to
lots of
ask.
mistakes.
If you
Yeah.
know who to ask,
Steve Schneider, your testimony on there. Check out Blackwood at Fringe.
May 16th?
Yeah, May 16th is the first showing.
When are the other dates? May 16th, do you know?
16th, the 18th, the 22nd, the 25th, and the 26th. They are at various times. The Wednesday, the 22nd performance, all seats are $6. It's normally
Ooh,
$12.
half
The
price.
Fringe has given us the opportunity this year to designate one show of our choosing
That's
for
awesome.
a discount
Yeah.
ticket.
Very
so
cool.
that is a 10:45 Wednesday show. So I thought that might be a good time
That's a
to
good
offer
one.
people
Yeah.
a discount as a reward.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
yes.
Coming
Yes.
up, Kaz is going to tell us about Legion, and, well, Mandaddy and Kaz will team up for entertainment and slam dunk it like an alley-oop.
Boom, shakalaka! You're listening to Fort Fritz.
Fort Fritz on Real Radio 104.1.
Welcome back to Fort Fritz. I'm your host, Fritz, joined as always by co-host Mandaddy,
Hi.
Angela,
Hello.
and Kaz.
Howdy.
So you have recently finished Legion?
Legion.
Legion. Legion.
Yeah. It's a show on FX. It's in conjunction with Marvel Television.
Ooh.
So it's about a comic book.
I've never actually watched this.
It is so worth your time.
Yeah?
Legion's fantastic.
It's fantastic.
Basically, it's about a mutant who has the ability to transmute to make basically his own reality. He can, if he thinks he wants to be somewhere, if he thinks he wants to see something, that's what appears.
He's a time bender.
But at the same time, he has dissociative identity disorder.
Oh, that's bad.
And so his idea of what is real and what is not kind of starts to fold into his decision making. I think it was more about like mental illness than it was about superpowers or anything like that.
Right.
It was a lot about like how you feel or how you would feel, and the process of getting better, and then medication and things like that. It was like very introspective into the idea of mental illness and recovery and what that means or doesn't.
Did you just finish season 2 or 1?
Correct, season 2. So there's 2 seasons out. Season 3 is going to start in June, I believe.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was informed that is going to be the final season.
Yes. That's going to be the last season.
Well, that's a
And I always
bummer.
like when they do that.
So season 2 ends. Is it a cliffhanger?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
They
for
both
sure.
are. Both seasons end with big cliffhangers.
It was created and directed, most of them directed by a man named Noah Hawley. And it's almost like watching a music video. Like a lot of them are shot so strangely.
Yeah.
There's none of it is like, very few scenes are just normal people talking. It's all a lot of weird colored palette changes and like scenes interchanging on other scenes, and
Very stylistically unique.
Yeah.
It takes you on a ride, visually and story-wise.
So this is Legion.
correct.
Okay.
On FX.
On FX.
Extremely cool show. So yeah, I'm looking forward to season 3. So we'll see what happens.
And we have to talk about the amazing and always wonderful Aubrey Plaza.
Oh God, yeah. So that's what I was gonna say. So starring David Haller, who plays David.
David Haller is the name of the character.
Oh, David Haller's the name of the character. What's the guy's name?
I have no idea. It's not my review. Not
He's
my
good
review.
though. He's
What
really
else has
good.
he been in?
Downton Abbey.
Wait, who was he on Down Abbey?
The younger dude with the short hair.
Producer.
Oh, come on. Was he Matthew Crawley?
Never seen an episode.
Now we're
Never seen an
doing-
episode.
We gotta look
Is
it
he
up
blonde with
now.
blue eyes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh man.
Well, sounds
Dan
like-
Stevens.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Oh my God!
Angela, bring
That
it
is exactly
out
it.
there.
Kidding me?
Damn, dude.
Points. 3 points.
We've never awarded 3 points before.
That's
But here we
definitely-
go. Ready?
That's a 3-pointer.
Yeah.
Wow.
From downtown.
Wow.
I got it.
Wow, that was amazing.
Done.
That's so just
Yeah.
From
pulling
downtown
the
Abbey.
knowledge out of nowhere. Amazing.
Dan
feel good.
Stevens.
That was.
I kind of feel like I should just leave now.
They're good. She's done. She's done, everybody. Thank you.
Peaked.
I peaked. I Steve peaked. Bye.
Oh my God!
no.
She's out of here. She's
Oh,
done.
come here. We
Please
need
She's
you.
lighting the couch
You
on
can't-
fire as she leaves.
You are our
The couch is
best
still on
member,
fire, but I'm
please.
back. It'll.
Dan Stevens
Dan Stevens
as
Damn.
David Haller.
And Aubrey Plaza.
And Aubrey Plaza as Lenny.
and she was on the
Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
And so the Parks and I think we said this in one of the last things we were talking about, but Parks and Rec, Aubrey Plaza is kind of that like almost like a Daria, like down, kind of like nothing matters. I'm like too cool for it. She almost I likened it to Jim Carrey-esque. Like she's huge in this. It's she's like dancing around. She's like very big, and she kind of plays like a junkie, I guess, type of person. So there's a lot of cool street type of stuff that she alludes to. But no, it's extremely cool performance by Aubrey Plaza and Dan Stevens, and I forgot who the Rachel something.
Was it Jermaine from
Jermaine Clement from
Flight of the Conchords?
from Flight of the Conchords.
He's
nice.
amazing
Is
in
he
it. He's
I
amazing
didn't know
in it.
that. Okay.
It's fantastic, and
It
they
is
like
so
let
worth
it
your
be
time.
Jermaine
Watch
from
this.
Flight of the Conchords. Like he's very dry. It's all like very like dialogue comedy and.
It's not your typical. That's what they're doing right now because there is a glut of the superhero shows and movies, of course, but this does a good job, and like what I always talk about Doom Patrol, they do a good job of it's not a superhero show per se. It's not flying around smashing people into buildings. It's a lot more psychological and stylistically the show will blow your mind. Just the way it is shot, the way it goes from scene to scene, the way it goes from plot line to plot line. It's just wonderfully done.
And Noah Hawley and the music director Jeff Russo did all of the covers that you hear in that. They actually
really?
did
Oh, I didn't
all the
know that.
lyrics and the music for all of the covers that you hear in
Oh,
it.
that's even. Oh, that's
For
badass.
Legion.
For
Yeah,
Legion.
for Legion.
I didn't know that.
They have a really cool cover of "Burn It Down the House" by Talking Heads that is
right.
extremely cool.
Jeez, okay.
And yeah, they're doing the lyrics and the music and everything. And the album is, I believe, called "It's Always Blue."
That's
Ooh.
cool.
It's
So-
always blue. It's always blue.
Which is what the
yeah,
guy
the
says.
drug. Oh, that's great. It's always blue.
So Legion season 3 is coming out when?
June.
June of
Nice.
this year.
Okay, June. Well,
So be
Mandaddy,
looking forward to that.
you got something else for us?
This is newer, so it still has. It's not finished its first season, so I'm not going to say whether it's as good as Legion or not.
All right,
But
yeah,
it
that's
is
fine. I'm sorry.
the new Twilight Zone.
Oh, I didn't know that was out yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's it's 4 episodes deep right now.
Ooh.
And it's available. You can get the first episode is on YouTube.
Okay.
You can get that on YouTube.
Neat.
The rest are on CBS All Access. It is executive produced and hosted by Jordan Peele, who is just he's just so badass. I love Jordan Peele, everything he's done. The fact that I never saw him from Mad TV. I only saw him first from Key and Peele, and
Yeah,
to
same
see
here.
him jump off from that to what he's done with movies like Us and
He's
Them,
been
I mean Us and Them, Us and Get Out and everything. But this is it's 4 episodes in, and I'm digging it. I'm digging it. It's still, every episode is going to be its own individual story, so it's not about a series finding its way. It's more about how you feel about each individual episode.
Is it a period, or do they kind of do modern day?
Every episode's different.
Okay, cool.
Every episode's whatever. They're not connected. Every episode can be whatever it is.
Neat.
The first episode has Kumail Nanjiani doing a great job. A great first episode, way to start it off with. He's a struggling comedian, a struggling stand-up comedian, and starts finding out by telling certain jokes he can eliminate people.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it
Creepy.
goes from there. The second episode stars Adam Scott. I love Adam Scott.
Is he the Parks and Rec guy too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's in everything. If you stop and think about it, Adam Scott has been in everything.
You see the brunette, floppy-haired brunette?
Tight. He's been in everything. He played Ben Wyatt in
Well,
Parks
tight,
and Rec.
just
I don't know how to
straight-haired
describe hair. I'm bald. There's no way to describe hair for me.
Oh my
There's,
God.
that short stuff coming out of right above his face.
He was also in Party Down, wasn't he?
He's in Party Down.
Yeah.
The second episode is a new take on the classic Terror at 30,000 Feet,
Cool.
which was the one with William Shatner that was redone with Lithgow.
that was
but it's-
redone by Fritz.
And then the second episode gets into a lot of what's going on currently with, say, with race relations and Black Lives Matters and police and relationships. So
Just like the
that's-
original Twilight Zone.
it's finding its own way and how to deal with modern issues and throwing in that classic, twist, you
Yeah.
know. And I think it's doing a good job. Each episode I've enjoyed in different ways, and I've had issues with different episodes, but nothing where I'm like, oh my, stop this. It's always been enjoyable. That's what I do.
Turn into a foppish
Yeah,
dandy?
whenever I don't like it, oh my, turn this off of my TV. I am completely offended by its existence. Bring me a shandy. But
So
it's
it's like you would
enjoyable.
say
Did
crumpet.
you drink shandies?
I like
Yeah.
shandies, man. When it's hot, a nice shandy. Come
You
on,
got your
man.
powdered wig on. You
Oh,
like
of course.
You're parched,
Oh, of
obviously.
course. Yeah, I'm going insane from the white makeup that contains aluminum, so I'm losing my mind. That's my thoughts on the Twilight Zone reboot. It's really enjoyable. Check it out. It's on CBS All Access. But now it's time for the checkout. What would you like us to check out there, Fritz?
I want to go last.
Okay.
So I'm rolling a D4,
Uh-oh.
and I roll it right now. It's a 4.
I mean, 1, 2, 3. Me.
Wait, hold on. What you got for us, Mandaddy?
First of all, of course, always please come out to my trivia nights. Please, always love to see new players on the first, third, and fifth Mondays, if there is a fifth Monday, at Orlando Brewing at 7 o'clock. I'm at 7 o'clock on Thursdays at Cheers Ounce-Malt, where I do 90s trivia. And then I do trivia at Lucky's Market out in Vineland. I do that on Tuesdays from 4 to 7. Also, when it comes to TV shows, Doom Patrol is still killing it. I can't harp on Doom Patrol enough. They're about to have the final episode of the season, I think, this weekend. And also, Gargamel is playing the 24th of May at Will's Pub with the Grooveniks. Angela, what do you want us to check out?
Well, I've been plugging this every show, and I don't care. I have my Fringe show coming
Tell
up.
us about it.
Yes. Steve was just in here talking about Blackwood, so support his show, please. And then my show is Does That Make Sense? At the Black Venue, May 19th, May 23rd, and May 25th. Putting a lot of work into it. We dance on point. We're doing modern. We're doing ballet. Lots of music. Depeche Mode. Alkaline Trio. Very excited. What about you, Kaz?
I'm getting excited about this movie coming out called Forever Tea Party. I've been hearing about.
Oh,
Nice.
Heard a lot about it. Heard a lot about it.
Directed by
Sham.
Barry Kirsch.
Barry Kirsch.
Yeah, nice.
Barry Kirsch.
Friend of the show. Friend of the show.
Yes.
The trailer is already out and looks very cool, so I'm going to be interested to check that out. And I don't have any plugs, so don't seek me out.
What do you got for us, Fritz?
You can download the iHeartRadio app, search Fort Fritz, and also search on social media at Fort Fritz. You will find us, and on that, Mandaddy, can you kick them out of our fort, please?
All right, look, everybody. We've been having a good time having you hanging out in the fort, listening to some jabber and whatnot. But it's time
David Lee Roth
for you to go home, baby.
Knew it.
Yeah, this is the end of Fort Fritz. Thank you very much for listening, but do this one thing, one big favor. Keep listening, but not now, because it's time to leave. This is Fort Fritz.
Diamond Daddy Roth.
Until next time, pleasant dreams.